The taxi pulled up to the house at 4:37 p.m. on a Thursday, and I knew something was wrong before the driver even put the car in park. My suitcases were lined up on the sidewalk like soldiers at attention. 3 of them. The burgundy one I'd had since Darnell was in high school, the black roller bag I bought for my trip to Atlanta last year, and that floral weekender bag my sister Pauline gave me for my 65th birthday. My hands started shaking as I paid the driver. He kept looking from me to the bags, concern written all over his face. "Ma'am, you need me to wait?" he asked. I opened my mouth to say yes, but then I saw the envelope taped to my largest suitcase. White envelope. My name written in Vanessa's perfect cursive. Mrs. Loretta Williams. "No, baby, I'll be all right," I heard myself say, even though I wasn't sure that was true. The taxi pulled away and I stood there on the sidewalk in front of the house I'd been paying for. The house where I'd lived for the past 8 years since my husband Bernard passed. The house where I'd raised my grandchildren while my son and his wife worked. The house that was supposed to be my home. My fingers trembled as I picked up that envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper, and the words made my vision go blurry. "Mother Williams, we've appreciated everything you've done, but Darnell and I need our space to raise our children without interference. If you want to stay here, we have the garage set up for you. It's not much, but it's what we can offer. We'll discuss terms when you're ready. Love, Vanessa." Love? She signed it. Love. I stood there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The September sun beat down on my shoulders, and Mrs. Chen from next door peeked through her curtains before quickly looking away. Even the neighbors knew. Everyone knew but me. My phone was in my purse. My hands were still shaking as I scrolled through my contacts. But I didn't call Darnell. I didn't call Vanessa. I called the bank. "First National Bank, this is Ashley speaking. How may I help you today?" "This is Loretta Williams," I said, and my voice sounded stronger than I felt. "I need to know the status of the mortgage on 2847 Maple Street. Account number..." I rattled off the numbers I'd memorized years ago. There was typing on the other end. "Yes, Mrs. Williams. Let me pull that up for you. Before we continue, shout out to Keisha Robinson from Detroit. We appreciate the love you show by commenting and sharing. Let me tell you how I got here. How I ended up standing on a sidewalk in front of my own house, thrown out like yesterday's trash by the people I'd sacrificed everything for. It started 8 years ago when Bernard died. Heart attack. Just like that, my husband of 42 years was gone, and I was alone in our little 2-bedroom house on Sycamore Street. The house was paid off, but it felt too empty, too quiet, too full of memories that hurt to look at. Darnell came to me 2 weeks after we buried his daddy. He sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Bernard taught him to play checkers, and he said, "Mama, Vanessa and I have been talking. We want you to come live with us." I remember how my heart swelled up, my only child wanting his mama close. "Baby, that's sweet, but I don't want to be a burden." "You could never be a burden, Mama." He reached across and took my hands. "Besides, we need you. The kids need you. Vanessa's trying to make partner at her law firm, and I'm working doubles at the hospital. We need help with Kayla and Jordan." Kayla was 6 then. Jordan was 3. Beautiful babies, both of them. Looked just like Bernard with those same bright eyes. "We found this house," Darnell continued. 4 bedrooms, nice neighborhood, good schools. But Mama," he looked down at our joined hands, "we're a little short on the down payment, and the mortgage would stretch us thin, especially with childcare costs." I knew what he was asking before he asked it. "How much do you need?" "Mama, I hate to ask." "How much, Darnell?" He told me. The number made me blink, but I had it. Bernard's life insurance, our savings, the money we'd put away for our retirement together, money we'd never get to use for those bus trips to see the Grand Canyon or that cruise we'd always talked about. I'll do it, I said. On one condition. We all go in together. I sell this house, put that money toward the new one, and I help with the mortgage. But it's our house. Family house. Darnell's face lit up like Christmas morning. Mama, are you sure? Family takes care of family, I said. It's what Bernard would have said. So I did it. I sold the house on Sycamore Street, the house where Darnell took his first steps, where Bernard proposed to me on the front porch, where we'd had every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every Sunday dinner after church for 40 years. I gave them almost everything, kept just enough back for emergencies, tucked away in an account they didn't know about. Bernard always said, Loretta, keep something for yourself just in case. We moved into the house on Maple Street together. It was beautiful. 4 bedrooms like Darnell said. I got the one downstairs with its own bathroom. Perfect for you, Mama, Vanessa said with that smile of hers. You won't have to deal with stairs. At first, everything was wonderful. I'd wake up with Kayla and Jordan, make them breakfast, banana pancakes on Saturdays, grits and eggs during the week. I'd braid Kayla's hair, humming the same songs my mama hummed when she braided mine. I'd drive them to school, pick them up, help with homework. Vanessa would come home from the law firm around 7. Darnell got off his nursing shifts at different times, but he was always exhausted. I'd have dinner ready. Pot roast on Sundays, fried chicken on Wednesdays, spaghetti on Fridays, because that was Jordan's favorite. Mama, you're a blessing, Darnell would say, and kiss my forehead. Vanessa would smile and say, I don't know what we'd do without you. I paid my share of the mortgage every month. Direct deposit from my Social Security and Bernard's pension. I also bought most of the groceries, paid for the kids' clothes more often than not. Gave them money when they said things were tight. But I didn't mind. This was family. This was what Bernard would have wanted. Things started changing about 2 years ago, small things at first. Vanessa got her promotion to partner. Suddenly she was coming home later, but there was money now, real money. She bought a new car, a sleek black Mercedes. Then Darnell got promoted to charge nurse. The comments started subtle. Mother Williams, the kids really need to learn to be more independent. This after I'd been taking care of them since they were babies. We're thinking of hiring a tutor for Kayla. Even though I'd been helping her with homework and she was getting straight A's. Then came the church incident. I'd been going to Bethel Baptist my whole life. Vanessa and Darnell had been coming with me, bringing the kids. But 3 months ago, Vanessa said they were trying a new church. More professional networking opportunities, she said. You understand. I understood all right. They were moving up in the world. An old Bethel Baptist with its gospel choir and 40-year-old carpet wasn't fancy enough anymore. Still, I kept quiet, kept cooking, kept cleaning, kept paying my share of everything. Then came my birthday 2 weeks ago, September 12th. I turned 68. My friend Delilah from church called me up and said, Loretta, some of us ladies are going to Myrtle Beach for the weekend. Rita's daughter has a condo. Come with us. I hadn't been anywhere since Bernard died. 8 years in that house, taking care of everyone else. When was the last time I did something for me? I don't know, I said. The kids are 14 and 11 now, Delilah said. And they have 2 parents. Come on, girl. When's the last time you had fun? I couldn't remember. I asked Vanessa if it was okay. Actually asked permission to go away for a weekend. Of course, Mother Williams, she said, not looking up from her phone. We can manage. So I went. 3 days at Myrtle Beach with Delilah, Rita, Joyce, and Sharon. We ate at good restaurants. We walked on the beach. We stayed up late talking and laughing. I felt like myself again. Like Loretta. Not just Mama. Not just Grandmother. Just Loretta. When Delilah drove me home today, I was still smiling. Still feeling that peace from the ocean, that joy from being around my friends. Then I saw my bags on the sidewalk. Mrs. Williams? Ashley from the bank was still on the phone. I have the account information. The current balance is... Who's been making the payments? I interrupted. Let me see. The automatic payments are coming from account holder Loretta M. Williams. That's you. The payments have been consistent, always on time. And the other account holders? There's only one name on this mortgage, ma'am. Loretta M. Williams. The world tilted. That can't be right. My son and daughter-in-law, I'm showing only your name, Mrs. Williams. You're the sole owner of this property. My mouth went dry. Can you repeat that? You are the sole owner and mortgage holder for 2847 Maple Street. The front door opened. Vanessa stepped out, looking annoyed. She was wearing a cream-colored pantsuit, the expensive kind. Behind her, I could see Darnell hovering in the doorway. Ashley, I said into the phone, my voice steady now. I need to make some changes to that account. Can you tell me what my options are? Vanessa's eyes widened. She'd heard me. Mama, let's talk inside, Darnell started. I held up one hand, keeping the phone to my ear. I'm listening, Ashley. Vanessa's face went pale. Good. Let her sweat. Let them both sweat. Because they'd just made the biggest mistake of their lives. They thought I was just old Mama, easy to push around, easy to throw away. They forgot that before I was anyone's mama, I was Loretta Mae Johnson, who grew up picking cotton with her daddy in Alabama before working my way through nursing school. They forgot I was the woman who stood beside Bernard Williams for 42 years, raising a family, building a life, surviving everything this world threw at us. They forgot I wasn't just their mama. I was a lioness. And they'd just poked the wrong one. Mrs. Williams? Ashley said. Are you still there? Yes, baby, I said, looking directly at Vanessa. I'm still here. And I'm about to make some very important decisions about my property. The look on Vanessa's face was worth every tear I'd cried on that sidewalk. Mrs. Williams, as the sole owner, you have several options, Ashley said on the phone. You can add or remove occupants, change locks, or if there are unauthorized residents, you can begin eviction proceedings. Vanessa rushed down the porch steps, her heels clicking fast. Mama, please, let's just talk. I turned my back to her. Ashley, how soon can I change the locks? Mama, Darnell's voice cracked. He was down the steps now too, standing beside his wife. My baby boy, who I'd rocked to sleep every night, who I'd worked double shifts for so he could go to nursing school. Don't do this, please. I can have a locksmith authorization sent to you within the hour, Ashley said. And Mrs. Williams? Given the situation, you might want to consider consulting with an attorney. Thank you, Ashley. Send me everything I need. I ended the call and finally turned to face them. Vanessa had tears in her eyes, but they looked practiced, lawyer tears. Mother Williams, I know how this looks. How this looks. My voice came out quiet, which scared them more than yelling would have. Bernard always said my quiet voice meant trouble. My bags are on the sidewalk, Vanessa. You offered me the garage in the house I've been paying for. We've been contributing too, Vanessa said. Really? Ashley just told me I'm the only name on that mortgage, the only one making payments. Darnell stepped forward. Mama, we gave you money. You gave me gas money sometimes. You paid for pizza on Fridays. Darnell, I've been covering the mortgage, the utilities, most of the food, and the kids' expenses for 8 years. My voice was still quiet, still steady. And you threw me out. We didn't throw you out, Vanessa said quickly. We just thought, we need our space. The garage is actually nice. We put a bed in there, a little refrigerator. You put a bed in the garage. I repeated the words slowly, letting them hear how ridiculous they sounded. For the woman who gave you the down payment for this house. For the woman who raised your children while you built your careers. Neighbors were watching now. Mrs. Chen had come all the way out to her porch. The Johnsons across the street were pretending to check their mailbox. Can we please go inside? Vanessa hissed. No. I picked up my smallest suitcase. You wanted me out here? We'll talk out here. Now move. They stepped aside and I walked right past them, up my porch steps, through my front door. I could hear them scrambling behind me. The house looked different. The family photos I'd hung in the hallway were gone, replaced with modern art, the expensive kind that looks like nothing. My grandmama's quilt that used to be on the living room couch was missing. Instead, there was a new white leather sectional. Where's my quilt? I asked. Vanessa and Darnell exchanged a look. It didn't really fit the aesthetic we're going for, Vanessa said. It's in storage. My grandmama made that quilt. She used scraps from every dress my mama wore as a girl. We know it's important. That's why we saved it. I walked past them to my bedroom. The door was closed. I opened it. The room was empty. Completely empty. My bed, my dresser, my nightstand. Everything was gone. The walls were painted a different color. Pale gray instead of the warm yellow I'd chosen. Where is my furniture? My voice was still quiet. We moved it to the garage, Darnell said softly. Mama, we're turning this into an office for Vanessa. She needs a home workspace. Get out. Mama? Get out of my house! The quiet was gone. The roar came from somewhere deep in my chest, from all the years of holding back, of being nice, of putting everyone else first. Get out right now! You can't just kick us out! Vanessa's mask slipped, showing the real face underneath. We live here! Our children live here! Where are my grandchildren? I asked suddenly. Another exchanged look. At Vanessa's mother's house, Darnell admitted. You sent them away? For what? We thought this conversation might get difficult, Vanessa said. We didn't want them to see. You didn't want them to see you throwing their grandmother out. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Did you tell them where I was going? Did you tell Kayla and Jordan that Grandma was going to be living in the garage like a car? It's not like that. What is it like then? Explain it to me. Vanessa's jaw tightened. Fine. You want the truth? Yes, you helped us buy this house, and we're grateful. But that was 8 years ago, Mother Williams. We've built a life here. Darnell and I make good money now. We need to be a family unit. Just the 4 of us. I am family. Your extended family, Vanessa said, and those words landed like a slap. The kids are getting older. They need independence. They need to rely on their parents, not their grandmother. You smother them. I looked at my son. Is that how you feel, Darnell? I smother your children? He couldn't meet my eyes. Mama, sometimes you treat them like they're still babies. Kayla's 14. She doesn't need you walking her to the bus stop. She asked me to walk with her. We talked about her day, about her friends. She was being polite, Vanessa interrupted. Mother Williams, this isn't about being ungrateful. We appreciate everything. But we've given you 8 years of free housing. Free housing? I stepped closer to her. Free housing? For the first time, Vanessa looked scared. My phone rang. I looked at the screen. Delilah. I answered. Hey, Dee. Loretta, Rita's husband works at the courthouse. He knows a good lawyer. Real good. You need his number? God bless church friends who know when something's wrong. Yes. Yes, I do. She gave me the number. His name is Attorney Marcus Chambers. Tell him Rita sent you. He'll take care of you, baby girl. I hung up and immediately dialed the number. It rang twice. Chambers Law Office. My name is Loretta Williams. Rita Washington told me to call. I need a lawyer. Mrs. Williams, I'm Attorney Chambers. Rita already called me. I can see you tomorrow morning at 9, but right now I need you to do exactly what I tell you. Do you understand? Yes. Are you at the property in question? Yes. Are the other parties there? Yes. Good. Tell them they have 1 hour to pack essential items only. Clothes, toiletries, medications, nothing else. They are not to remove any furniture, electronics, or appliances. After 1 hour, they leave. Tell them you're within your legal rights, and if they refuse, you'll call the police. Can you do that? I looked at Vanessa and Darnell. Yes, I can do that. I'll email you a locksmith service. Change the locks tonight. All of them. And Mrs. Williams, don't let them guilt you. You own that house. They made their choice. I thanked him and ended the call. Then I turned to my son and his wife. You have 1 hour to pack essential items, clothes, toiletries, medications. Then you leave. Mama, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. You wanted me out. Now you're out. 1 hour. We have nowhere to go, Vanessa shouted. You have your mother's house, apparently, since that's where my grandchildren are. And Vanessa, you make partner money. I'm sure you can afford a hotel until you find something permanent. This is insane, Vanessa looked at Darnell. Say something, she's your mother. Darnell's face crumpled. Mama, please, I'm sorry. We made a mistake, a big mistake. But we can fix this. You're right. You made a mistake. A huge one. You forgot that I might be old, but I'm not stupid. You forgot that I wasn't just giving you money. I was investing in family. In us. And you threw me away. We didn't mean... You put my bags on the sidewalk, Darnell. You erased me from my own house. My furniture's in the garage. My quilt's in storage. My photos are gone. You meant it. You just didn't think I'd do anything about it. Tears were running down his face now. Real tears, not lawyer tears. Mama, I love you. Then why wasn't that enough? My voice broke. Why wasn't my love enough? Why wasn't everything I sacrificed enough? He had no answer. 58 minutes left, I said. I suggest you start packing. They ran upstairs. I could hear them moving frantically, opening drawers, zipping suitcases. I walked to the kitchen and sat down at the table. My hands were shaking again, but this time from adrenaline, not fear. My phone buzzed. A text from Delilah. We're coming over, don't argue. 20 minutes later, Delilah, Rita, Joyce, and Sharon walked through my front door like they owned the place. Delilah had a casserole. Rita had a Bible. Joyce had a baseball bat. Just in case, Joyce said, patting the bat. Y'all didn't have to come, I said, but I was crying. Hush. Delilah set down the casserole and wrapped me in a hug. Family takes care of family. And baby, we're your family. We heard footsteps on the stairs. Vanessa and Darnell came down with 3 suitcases each. They stopped when they saw my friends. Oh, good, Joyce said, tapping the bat against her palm. An audience. Joyce, put that down, I said, but I was almost laughing through my tears. Darnell looked at me one more time. Mama, I know you're angry, but please, think about Kayla and Jordan. This is their home. No, I said softly. This is my home. I built it with my money, my love, my sacrifice. You took that for granted. You took me for granted. What are we supposed to tell the kids? Vanessa asked. Tell them the truth. Tell them you threw their grandmother out, and she decided she wasn't going to be anyone's doormat anymore. They left. The door closed behind them. And I watched through the window as they loaded their fancy Mercedes with their suitcases. The car that cost more than my first house. As soon as they pulled away, I collapsed into a chair. My friends surrounded me. You did the right thing, Rita said. Did I? Those are my grandchildren, Rita. What if they hate me? They won't, Sharon said. Kids are smart. They'll figure out who was wrong here. Delilah's phone rang. She answered, listened, and her face went pale. Loretta, that was my daughter. She's friends with Vanessa on Facebook. And? Vanessa just posted a long message. She's saying you kicked them out without warning, that you're having a mental breakdown, that she's worried about your dementia. Delilah's voice shook with anger. She's asking for prayers and saying she might need to pursue legal guardianship for your own safety. The room went silent. Then Rita stood up, cracking her knuckles. Oh, she wants to play dirty? We can play dirty. Loretta, give me your phone. What are you going to do? I'm calling my son. He's a news producer, local station. Rita's eyes gleamed. Let's see how Vanessa likes being the story instead of telling it. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a number I didn't recognize. I answered anyway. Mrs. Williams, this is Officer Tamika Brown with the police department. We just received a welfare check request for your address. Someone claimed you were having a mental health crisis and were a danger to yourself? I closed my eyes. Vanessa was moving fast. Officer Brown, I'm fine. I'm here with friends. I just removed some unwanted house guests from my property. I see. Well, we're required to do a visual check. We'll be there in 10 minutes. She hung up before I could respond. The police are coming, I said. Joyce picked up her bat again. Good. Let them see you're fine. Let them see you've got witnesses. But my stomach was churning. Vanessa was a partner at a law firm. She knew people. She knew how the system worked. And she was going to use every bit of that knowledge to destroy me. Officer Tamika Brown arrived with her partner, Officer Rodriguez. They were professional but cautious, the way police are when they think they might be walking into something unpredictable. Mrs. Williams? Officer Brown was a young black woman, maybe 30, with kind eyes. We received a call that you were experiencing a mental health crisis. As you can see, officer, I'm perfectly fine. I gestured to my friends. Just having some company. Officer Rodriguez was writing everything down. The caller said you'd forcibly removed family members from the home and were making irrational decisions. The caller, I said carefully, is my daughter-in-law. She's upset because I removed her and my son from my home after they tried to kick me out. Officer Brown's eyebrow went up. This is your home? Yes, ma'am. I can show you the deed, the mortgage statements, everything. My name only. I walked to the kitchen drawer where I kept important documents. Thank God I'd never let Vanessa organize my paperwork like she'd wanted. I handed over the folder. Officer Brown studied the documents while Officer Rodriguez looked around the house. Everything appears to be in order, she said finally. Mrs. Williams, do you know why your daughter-in-law might have called in a welfare check? Because I stood up for myself and she didn't like it. Officer Brown nodded slowly. She'd probably seen this before. Well, you're clearly competent and not in distress. We'll note that in our report. But Mrs. Williams, if this escalates, document everything. Every text, every call, every interaction. She will, Rita said firmly. We're all witnesses. After the officers left, I finally let myself breathe. But the relief didn't last long. Delilah's phone started buzzing non-stop. Loretta, Vanessa's post is going viral. People are sharing it everywhere. They're calling you. She stopped. Her face twisted with anger. What? What are they calling me? Awful things. They don't know you. They don't know the truth. Sharon grabbed the phone from Delilah. She started typing furiously. Not on my watch. If she's going to blast you on social media, we're going to tell the real story. Within minutes, my church friends had mobilized. Posts started appearing on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Photos of me with Kayla and Jordan over the years. Me at church events. Me volunteering at the food bank. Rita even found pictures from my nursing days 40 years ago. But the caption that Rita's son wanted was the one that changed everything. This is Loretta Williams, Sharon's post read. A woman who buried her husband, sold her home, and gave almost everything to help her son buy a house. A woman who raised her grandchildren for 8 years while paying the mortgage. A woman who came home from a trip to find her bags on the sidewalk and a note offering her the garage. This is elder abuse. This is financial exploitation, and we won't stay silent. Rita's son called at 10 p.m. Mrs. Williams, this is Jerome Washington. My mama says you've got a story that needs to be told. Can you come to the station tomorrow at noon? We're doing a segment on elder financial abuse, and your story fits perfectly. Jerome, I don't want to embarrass my son. Mrs. Williams, with respect, your son should have thought about that before he let his wife throw you out. This isn't just about you. How many other elders are being used up and tossed aside by their own families? He had a point. All right, I said. I'll be there. That night, I slept in my house alone for the first time in 8 years. My friends had offered to stay, but I needed to prove to myself that I could do this, that I was strong enough. I woke up to 17 missed calls from Darnell and 12 from Vanessa. There were text messages, too. Darnell's were apologetic, begging. Vanessa's started apologetic, but got progressively angrier. The last one, sent at 2 a.m., said, "You've made a big mistake. I'll see you in court." I met with Attorney Chambers at 9 a.m. sharp. His office was in a historic building downtown, the kind with marble floors and dark wood paneling. He was a tall, distinguished man in his 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes. Mrs. Williams, I've reviewed the documents you emailed. This is a clear case. The house is yours. You can legally remove anyone you choose. He leaned back in his leather chair. But I suspect your daughter-in-law is going to fight dirty. She already is. She called the police, said I was having a mental breakdown. She posted on social media. I saw. His face hardened. That post could be considered defamatory. But here's what concerns me more. She mentioned pursuing guardianship. If she files for that, claiming you're not mentally competent to manage your affairs, things could get complicated. My blood ran cold. She could take everything? She could try. That's why we're going to be proactive. I'm ordering a full psychiatric evaluation for you. Independent doctor, no connections to either party. When that comes back showing you're perfectly competent, and it will, we'll have ammunition. I'm also filing a restraining order against harassment, and we're going to pursue charges for attempted elder exploitation. Attorney Chambers, these are my grandchildren's parents. I don't want to destroy them. Mrs. Williams, they tried to destroy you first. They tried to take your home, your dignity, your security, and now they're trying to paint you as mentally ill. This isn't about revenge. This is about protection. He looked at me seriously. If you back down now, they'll know they can push you around. Is that the message you want to send to your grandchildren? I thought about Kayla and Jordan. What would they learn if they saw their parents face no consequences? That it was okay to use people? That love came with conditions? No, I said firmly. That's not the message I want to send. The news segment aired that evening at 6 p.m. I watched it at Delilah's house, surrounded by my church friends. Jerome had done his homework. He showed the documents proving I owned the house. He interviewed Attorney Chambers about elder financial abuse. And then he showed me, sitting in my living room, telling my story. I loved them, I said to the camera, tears streaming down my face. I gave them everything, and they offered me a garage. The segment ended with a call to action about protecting elderly family members and recognizing the signs of financial exploitation. Within an hour, my phone exploded. People from church, old friends I hadn't spoken to in years, even people I didn't know. Everyone was outraged on my behalf. But the call that mattered most came at 7:30. Grandma? It was Kayla, and she was crying. Grandma, is it true? Did Mom and Dad really try to make you live in the garage? My heart broke all over again. Baby, we just saw the news. Mom and Dad are freaking out. Jordan's crying. Grandma, why didn't you tell us? I didn't want to put you in the middle. We are in the middle. Her voice cracked. You're our grandma. You raised us. You were there for every soccer game, every school play, every bad day. You taught me to braid hair. You helped Jordan learn to read. And they threw you away? Kayla, they're still your parents. I know, and I still love them. But Grandma, what they did was wrong. Really, really wrong. She took a shaky breath. Can Jordan and I come see you? Please? Baby, you need to talk to your parents first. I already did. I told Mom that if she doesn't make this right, I'm not speaking to her. I'm 14, not stupid. I know what they did. That's when I heard Vanessa's voice in the background, sharp and angry. Kayla Marie Henderson, give me that phone right now. The line went dead. 2 days later, I sat in courtroom 4B of the county courthouse. Attorney Chambers sat beside me, calm and confident in his navy suit. Across the aisle, Vanessa had brought her firm's senior partner, a man named Preston Clark, who looked like he ate opposing lawyers for breakfast. Darnell sat beside Vanessa, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. He kept trying to catch my eye, but I looked away. The judge was Honorable Dorothy Miller, a black woman in her 70s with silver locks and no-nonsense energy. This is a hearing regarding property rights and a petition for emergency guardianship, Judge Miller said, reading from her papers. Ms. Henderson, you've filed claiming that Mrs. Loretta Williams is not mentally competent to manage her affairs. You've also filed for emergency injunctive relief to regain access to the property. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Preston Clark stood. My client has serious concerns about Mrs. Williams's mental state. Her recent erratic behavior, including forcibly removing her family from their home without warning. Their home? Judge Miller's eyebrow went up. She looked at the documents. According to the deed and mortgage, this is Mrs. Williams's home. She is the sole owner. Your Honor, my client and her husband have lived there for 8 years. As residents, not owners. Continue. Preston shifted. Your Honor, Mrs. Williams is 68 years old. She's recently widowed. I've been widowed for 8 years, I said quietly. Mrs. Williams, Judge Miller said gently, you'll have your chance to speak. Mr. Clark, do you have any medical evidence of incompetence? Doctor's reports? Psychiatric evaluations? Not yet, Your Honor, which is why we're requesting an emergency evaluation. I have one. Attorney Chambers stood, holding up a folder. Mrs. Williams voluntarily underwent a full psychiatric evaluation 3 days ago. Dr. Patricia Chen, a board-certified psychiatrist with no connection to either party, found Mrs. Williams to be fully competent, with no signs of dementia, cognitive decline, or impaired judgment. In fact, her cognitive test scores were exceptional for her age group. He handed copies to the judge and opposing counsel. Vanessa's face went pale. Judge Miller read through the report, her expression neutral. This is quite thorough. Mr. Clark, does your client have any evidence to contradict this? Your Honor, one evaluation is more than you have. Ms. Henderson, why did you file this petition? Vanessa stood, smoothing her skirt. When she spoke, her voice was steady, professional. The mask was back on. Your Honor, I love my mother-in-law. We all do. But she's been acting strangely. She came home from a trip and immediately started making irrational decisions. Irrational decisions like not wanting to live in a garage? I couldn't help myself. Judge Miller's lips twitched. Mrs. Williams, please. Your Honor, Attorney Chambers said, may I present evidence of what actually occurred? He pulled out printed screenshots, Vanessa's Facebook post, text messages between Vanessa and Darnell from before my trip, discussing how to handle the mother-in-law situation, emails about converting my bedroom into an office. This wasn't sudden, Your Honor. This was planned. While Mrs. Williams was on a birthday trip with friends, the respondent systematically removed her belongings, converted her bedroom, and prepared to relocate her to the garage. The only thing Mrs. Williams did was refuse to accept this treatment. Judge Miller studied the evidence. Her face was stone. Ms. Henderson, did you put Mrs. Williams's belongings on the sidewalk? Vanessa looked at Preston, who nodded. Yes, Your Honor, but we were trying to help her transition. To the garage! It was a finished space. It was a garage. Judge Miller took off her glasses. Ms. Henderson, I've been on the bench for 23 years. I've seen a lot of things. But this might be the most brazen example of elder exploitation I've seen in some time. You and your husband lived in Mrs. Williams's house on Mrs. Williams's dime while she raised your children. And when you decided you didn't need her anymore, you tried to warehouse her in the garage like an old car. Your Honor, it wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Explain to me how putting a 68-year-old woman's bags on the sidewalk is an act of love. Vanessa had no answer. Judge Miller looked at Darnell. Mr. Henderson, you're a nurse. You work in healthcare. Did you really think this was appropriate? Darnell stood slowly. No, Your Honor. I let my wife convince me that we needed space, that my mother was too involved, but she was just being a grandmother, being a mother. And his voice broke. I threw away the best person I know because I was too weak to stand up to my wife. Vanessa whipped around to stare at him, betrayed. At least you're honest, Judge Miller said. Here's my ruling. Mrs. Loretta Williams is clearly competent. The petition for guardianship is denied and dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled without substantial new evidence. Mrs. Williams has full rights to her property. The respondents have no claim to the residence and are barred from entering without Mrs. Williams's express permission. She looked at Vanessa. And Ms. Henderson, I'm sanctioning you for filing a frivolous petition. You're an attorney. You knew this was baseless. You filed it as harassment. That's $5,000, payable to the court within 30 days. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. Furthermore, Judge Miller continued, I'm ordering both respondents to attend mediation with Mrs. Williams regarding the funds she contributed to the property. Mrs. Williams, do you wish to pursue reimbursement for your financial contributions? I looked at Darnell. Really looked at him. He was crying now, silent tears running down his face. Your Honor, I said slowly, I don't want to destroy my son. I just want him to understand what he did, what they both did. I want my grandchildren to learn that actions have consequences, but also that family, real family, doesn't throw each other away. That's very gracious of you, Judge Miller said. But let me be clear, all parties. Mrs. Williams has the legal right to pursue full reimbursement. She's choosing not to. Don't mistake grace for weakness. She banged her gavel. We're adjourned. Outside the courthouse, Attorney Chambers shook my hand. You did well in there. I didn't say much. You didn't have to. The truth spoke for itself. He handed me his card. If they bother you again, you call me immediately. And Mrs. Williams, you might want to consider updating your will. Make sure your assets are protected. I thanked him and turned to find Kayla and Jordan standing there. They'd been in the courtroom gallery the whole time. Vanessa's mother must have brought them. Grandma, Jordan said. And then he was running, throwing his arms around my waist. He was 11, but still my baby. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know what they did. Kayla walked over more slowly. She was so grown up, so poised. But when she reached me, she crumpled. Grandma, can we come home? Please? I don't want to stay with them. My heart squeezed. Baby, they're your parents. They're liars, she said fiercely. They lied to us. They said you wanted to move out, that you needed less responsibility. They made it sound like it was your idea. I looked over her head. Vanessa and Darnell were standing by their car. Darnell met my eyes. He mouthed, I'm sorry, Mama. How about this? I said, pulling both grandchildren close. How about you come visit me this weekend? We'll cook together. We'll talk. We'll figure this out. Promise? Jordan asked. Promise. That Saturday, Kayla and Jordan came over. Just them, no parents. Darnell dropped them off and didn't even try to come inside, just waved sadly from the car. We made my grandmother's chocolate cake, the recipe that required stirring by hand for exactly 5 minutes. We sat at the kitchen table, my table again, right where it belonged, and we talked. Are you going to forgive them? Kayla asked. Eventually, I said. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean letting them do it again. I'm mad at them, Jordan said quietly. Really mad. That's okay, baby. They hurt someone you love. Being angry is normal. Did we hurt you? Kayla's voice was small. By not realizing what was happening? No, sweetheart. You were kids. This was never your responsibility. I took both their hands. But I want you to learn something from this. I want you to learn that love without respect isn't really love. That family is supposed to lift each other up, not tear each other down. And that you never, ever throw away someone who loves you. Kayla wiped her eyes. I'm never going to treat anyone the way they treated you. Good. Then something beautiful came from something ugly. Over the next few months, things slowly healed. Darnell came to see me once a week. We'd sit on the porch and he'd apologize again, and I'd listen. Vanessa never apologized. She sent me a check for $10,000 once, through her lawyer. I donated it to the church's elder care fund. The kids came over every weekend. Sometimes they stayed the night. We fell back into our rhythm, braiding hair, helping with homework, cooking Sunday dinners. One evening, about 4 months after the courtroom, Darnell came to the door looking nervous. Mama, can we talk? We sat on the porch. It was January now, cold but clear. Vanessa and I are separating, he said. I didn't say anything, just waited. She's not a bad person, Mama, but she's not the person I thought I married. Or maybe I changed. Or maybe seeing how she treated you woke me up to things I'd been ignoring. He picked at a thread on his jacket. She wants the kids primarily, but I'm fighting for 50-50 custody. And Mama, I'm looking for my own place. Somewhere small. Somewhere honest. That sounds wise, I said carefully. I know I can't undo what I did. I know I hurt you in ways that might never fully heal. But Mama, I want to be better. I want to be the man Daddy raised me to be. The man you deserve as a son. I looked at my boy, my grown son with gray in his beard, and I saw him clearly for the first time in years. Saw his regret, his shame, his genuine desire to change. Then be better, I said simply. Not for me, for you, for your kids. He nodded, crying again. I love you, Mama. I know, baby. I know. 6 months after that day on the sidewalk, I had a new normal. The house was mine again. Really mine. I'd repainted my bedroom that warm yellow. I'd hung my family photos back up. Grandmama's quilt was on the couch where it belonged. My church friends came over every Wednesday for dinner and Bible study. Delilah had basically moved into the guest room, claiming she liked my cooking better than her own. Kayla and Jordan split their time between their parents, but they always chose to spend their weekends with me. We were closer than ever, bonded by hardship and honesty. And me? I was more myself than I'd been in 8 years. I started volunteering at the hospital again, mentoring young nurses. I joined the church choir. I even went on a date with a nice gentleman named Robert who sat 3 pews behind me every Sunday. One Sunday afternoon, the doorbell rang. It was Darnell, and he wasn't alone. Standing next to him was a woman about my age with kind eyes and a nervous smile. Mama, Darnell said, this is my therapist, Dr. Linda Morrison. I've been seeing her for 6 months now, and I asked her to come with me today because I wanted to make amends properly, the way she taught me. We sat in the living room, and Darnell told me everything. How he'd felt overshadowed by me, how Vanessa had fed into his insecurities, how he'd been too proud to admit he still needed his mama, how therapy was teaching him to set healthy boundaries instead of cruel ones, to communicate instead of exclude. I can't take back what I did, he finished, but I can promise it'll never happen again. Not to you, not to anyone. And Mama, I hope someday you can be proud of me again. I looked at this man who'd broken my heart and was trying to piece it back together. Darnell, I never stopped being proud of you. I was disappointed, hurt, angry, all of that. But you're still my son. And I see you trying. That matters. He hugged me then, really hugged me, the way he used to when he was small and scared and needed his mama to make everything okay. Some things you can't make okay. Some hurts leave scars. But some scars remind us that we survived, that we stood up, that we knew our worth. I survived. I stood up. And I learned that being thrown away doesn't mean you're trash. It means someone else couldn't recognize treasure. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.